Hi everybody. Welcome to my new channel. This is my very first post, so I wanted to give you a little bit of information about how I was raised and where I was raised and about the crazy people I was raised around. I grew up in a middle class neighborhood and had the weirdest neighbors of all. Um, we all know that there is no more middle class anymore, so we're talking like the 80s now. Um, First people I'd like to talk to you about, and well, first let me tell you about myself. I had two dogs, two guinea pigs, two newts, and a potbelly pig. And back then, that's when potbelly pigs were all the rave, and they made claims that they only stayed like miniature, because that was they called that they were miniature potbelly pigs. However, Arnold, our pig, from Arnold Ziffel Green Acres, grew to be a massive sow. um, and my next door neighbors, they didn't really like that. So the neighbors to my left, we'll just call them the Stewies. They had three little girls, and they were all unpopular, trouble. They weren't trouble; they were just snitches. Let's put it like that. Um, they ended up getting upset for some reason, and the only thing that they could find to complain about was the pig in the backyard, who made less noise than my dogs or all of us kids playing. So one day, after they raised a big stink, get it? um, Me and my brother and my best friend, and we will call her Juniper, uh, for privacy sakes, we got on the trampoline in my backyard and decided that we would throw sacks of pig feces over in Stewie's yard. That was called payback. Things were different back then, but it was fun. I had a little bit of enjoyment doing it. To the left of me, or to the right of me, was a man I will refer to as Baldy. And that's exactly what we did call him. An example of him would be if my grass was mowed and was even a quarter-inch shorter than his, he would be right out there mowing, and then he would throw all of his grass trimmings onto our property. I didn't say that. But that's what he was. Okay, so he was just a pain. So both sides of my neighbors were, mm, we knew how to pick the house, I guess. Um, oh, down the road, a little ways down the road in the neighborhood, was a family called the Edwards, and we would go over there. They had a son and a daughter, and we would go over there just out of pure entertainment. Um, when the parents would get off work, they would scream at those kids, uh, "Do the dishes, you little!" And I mean, it was awful. Um, Today it would be absolutely abuse, and looking back, and now that I'm older, it most definitely was abuse. However, as a kid, we found it we found it funny. That's so terrible. But it makes me think, because I'm a mother myself, who would talk to their children like that? And I'm not quite sure what those kids grew up to be, but I'm guessing trouble. Uh, Another character that lived in the neighborhood was named Aaron. Now he was slow, developmentally slow. Um, he was kind of a skater kid, and skating wasn't that popular back then, and especially in my neighborhood. So people judged him on him being a skater, and well, of course, he was a little slow. Um, Actually, he grew up to be a auto body painter. So lesson number one: always know who's going to be painting your car, because the lesson is you just never know. Um, Another character, John John. I won't tell you his last name. We just call him John John. He always lived in his mom's basement, and his mom was a terrible raging alcoholic who would go to the PTA meetings drunk as a skunk. He was the biggest bully of all, and he would happen to be bullying my brother. So my dad took his car, his truck, backed it up to the door, and farmed his yard. Uh, which I find quite hilarious, but quite juvenile at the same time. But I guess if somebody was bullying my kid, I don't know how I would handle that, to be honest with you. Um, here, okay. There's always that one weird family, if I haven't told you about enough. There's always this one weird family. Okay, so there's this family, and we're going to call them the Welshes, for privacy's sake. Um, they were a nice Jewish family. So it appeared on the outside, beautiful lawn, beautiful house. When you went inside the house, they were covered from head to toe in tattoos. Not that there's anything wrong with tattoos. I'm just saying it's not generally the Jewish atmosphere, culture. And they ultimately opened and owned a dirty, you know what I mean, comic book store. So if you can envision this Jewish family tattooed up and owning a dirty comic book store, well, we'll just let you think about that for a minute. Oh, okay, so in the neighborhood we had a private pool due to, it being part of the homeowners association neighborhood. And one day, me and Juniper, we went to the pool, and we had to stop and at the desk and let them know our names so that we could get in, and because you had to be a private member. As we approached the window, I noticed at the pool clock there is a black water moccasin wrapped around the clock arms. So I had to be like, "Hey, people, there's a water moccasin." And I must have been like 10 or 11 years old, telling these high schoolers or young adults, whatever, about a snake that's basically right behind their head that could be deadly. And not to mention all of us kids. I mean, do you not know there's a goddamn snake behind you? Hello. So yeah, that was one story there, but there were several stories at the swimming pool. So we're not going to go into all of them today, but they are quite funny. And the ambulance. The ambulance was always at the swimming pool. Why was the ambulance at the swimming pool? Let me tell you. It wasn't due to the elderly heat exhaustion. It wasn't due to children drowning. It was due to their diving board. Now, this happened multiple times. Like that, when I think about that swimming pool, I think about the ambulances. People would go off that diving board time after time, and this was in the neighborhood, so people knew everybody. People knew what to do, what not to do. But every single time, it never failed. Somebody would bash their head on the diving board, and then blood would just gush everywhere, ruin the whole pool time for all of us. Maddening, maddening, maddening. So I don't know if they were just too ignorant to not know how to use a diving board, or if the diving board at the pool was not properly measured right. Anyways, that's neither here nor say, although everybody turned out to be okay, and then in the end we got a good laugh. I also, in the neighborhood, met a very good friend of mine, and we will call him Brian. I am still friends with him today, him and his family. He is a great guy who is raising a up-and-coming judo star, and there's more about him too to talk about, and plenty more neighbors to talk about. I've got to tell you about the time we almost got kidnapped, but I will save that for a later date. So thanks for watching, coming to my channel, and there's more to come, so stay tuned.